Ababa Vanga's 2025 prophecy is happening now. Earthquakes, war and end times warnings. Baba Vanga, the mysterious blind mystic, has fascinated people for decades with her uncanny ability to predict future events. Though she lost her sight at a young age, she claimed to see far beyond the physical world, into the future itself. Over the years, many of her predictions have seemingly come true, fueling both belief and skepticism. But what makes her 2025 predictions so chilling is how they align with real-world events unfolding right now. From political upheavals to economic crises, from technological revolutions to natural disasters, her warnings seem to echo across time. And now, recent earthquakes shaking Los Angeles during the Oscars and growing concerns over Seattle's looming big one have sparked a wave of questions. Are we witnessing the early tremors of something much larger? Are these just random geological shifts? Or could they be part of a pattern, one that has been foreseen long before today? Throughout history, natural disasters have often been viewed as omens, warnings of greater events to come. The Bible itself is filled with references to earthquakes as divine signals, moments when God shakes the earth to get humanity's attention. And now, as scientists warn of increasing seismic activity across the United States, from California to Texas to the Pacific Northwest, the parallels between prophecy and reality have become impossible to ignore. But what if these events aren't just scientific phenomena? What if they are connected to something deeper, something woven into the very fabric of history and faith? In today's world, we often dismiss prophecy as superstition, relegating figures like Baba Vanga to the realm of myths and legends. But when predictions appear to align with current events, it forces us to reconsider. Could there be more to these warnings than we initially thought? And if so, what are we supposed to do with this knowledge? One thing is certain: the world is changing fast, political tensions are escalating, the economy teeters on uncertainty, and now the earth itself seems to be moving beneath our feet. What does it all mean? And more importantly, what happens next? Stay with us as we dive deeper into these predictions, exploring their connections to biblical prophecy, history, and the very real challenges we face today. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, the events of 2025 are shaping up to be some of the most defining moments of our lifetime. Are we ready for what's coming? If you're intrigued by these mysteries and want to uncover the deeper meaning behind today's events through a biblical lens, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Bible Pathways. We bring you thought-provoking insights, faith-based perspectives, and powerful stories that help you navigate these uncertain times. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button now. Baba Vanga's name still evokes fascination and fear worldwide. Despite passing away in 1996, her predictions continue to haunt us, as many believe she foresaw events centuries into the future: wars, economic collapses, and even catastrophic natural disasters that would reshape the world. Among her most chilling prophecies were devastating earthquakes, massive tremors that would shake nations, topple cities, and alter the course of history. And now, recent seismic events are raising eyebrows. A 3.9 magnitude earthquake struck Los Angeles on the same night as the Oscars, rattling the city just as Hollywood's biggest stars celebrated. Meanwhile, experts in the Pacific Northwest have reignited concerns over the long-dreaded big one, a megaquake that could devastate Seattle and surrounding areas. And in Texas, the ground has been rumbling with increasing frequency, linked to underground drilling activities. Are these just natural occurrences, or could they be the first signs of something bigger? Throughout history, earthquakes have often been seen as omens, warnings of great change or impending disaster. In the Bible, earthquakes are mentioned as divine signals, shaking the earth when humanity strays too far. Matthew 24:7 describes them as part of the birth pains leading to significant global upheaval. Could these modern tremors be part of something foreseen long ago? Science tells us that tectonic activity is a natural process. But what if prophecy and science are not as separate as we think? The unsettling alignment of Baba Vanga's predictions with these recent quakes has sparked a debate. Are these events simply geological shifts, or are they warnings of what's to come? As we move deeper into 2025, these questions become harder to ignore. Are we witnessing mere coincidences, or are we living in the very timeline that Baba Vanga once warned about? One thing is clear: the world is on edge. And as we continue to explore her predictions, we must ask ourselves, what else did she foresee? And more importantly, are we prepared for what's coming next? Throughout history, earthquakes have been seen as more than just natural disasters. They've been interpreted as divine warnings, moments where God shakes the earth to get humanity's attention. One of the most striking biblical accounts of this is found in Exodus 19:18. When God descended upon Mount Sinai to give the Ten Commandments, the entire mountain quaked violently, covered in fire and smoke. It wasn't just a display of power. It was a moment of divine revelation, a call for the Israelites to listen, to recognize something greater at work. Could the recent earthquakes shaking our world today be similar warnings? The Cascadia fault line, lurking beneath the Pacific Northwest, has long been feared by scientists. If triggered, it could unleash a massive earthquake, a catastrophe on a scale we've never seen before. Experts say this so-called big one could devastate Seattle, Portland, and surrounding areas, sending shockwaves across the continent. And it's not just the West Coast. Texas has seen unprecedented seismic activity, with quakes linked to underground drilling. Meanwhile, in California, a 3.9 magnitude earthquake rattled Los Angeles during the Oscars, striking just as Hollywood's elite gathered under bright lights and golden statues. Was it just an eerie coincidence, or could it be a symbolic warning? These increasing tremors bear a chilling resemblance to the prophetic warnings found in the Bible. Matthew 24:7 foretells that in the last days there will be earthquakes in various places, a signal of greater upheaval to come. And in Revelation 16:18, an earthquake so great is described that no earthquake like it has ever occurred since mankind has been on earth. But perhaps the most unsettling connection lies in what these quakes could mean beyond the physical realm. In times of crisis, societies have been forced to reconsider their priorities, to question whether these disasters are mere chance or part of something far greater. Are we witnessing the beginning of something bigger, a shifting of global power, a reckoning for the modern world? If history has taught us anything, it's that moments of great turmoil, whether in the form of war, economic collapse, or natural disasters, often precede major turning points. Just as ancient civilizations crumbled after great catastrophes, could our modern era be facing a similar fate? One thing is undeniable: earthquakes have always been wake-up calls, forcing people to face hard truths. The question is, are we listening? Or are we too distracted, too complacent to recognize the signs? The ground beneath us is shifting. Are we prepared for what's coming next? Baba Vanga's visions didn't stop at natural disasters. She also foresaw a time of geopolitical turmoil and economic instability, a world shaken not just by tremors in the earth, but by deep fractures in global power structures. The Bible itself warns of such a time. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, Matthew 24:7. Today, as conflicts rage, economies crumble, and global tensions mount, we must ask, are we witnessing the fulfillment of prophecy? A world on edge. Rising conflicts and economic collapse across the world, signs of instability are multiplying. The Russia-Ukraine war has dragged on for years, reshaping European alliances and economies. Meanwhile, China's territorial expansion in the Pacific, particularly around Taiwan and the South China Sea, is escalating tensions with the West. Some experts warn that the US could be drawn into a conflict that would redefine the global order. But wars aren't the only forces reshaping our world. Economic crises are brewing in multiple regions. In Latin America, countries like Argentina are grappling with hyperinflation, collapsing currencies, and political unrest, pushing millions into poverty. In Europe, the once mighty Eurozone is under strain. Some analysts fear that economic stagnation, rising debt, and social discontent could lead to the decline of Europe's economic power, potentially fulfilling Baba Vanga's vision of a dwindling European population. Meanwhile, in the United States, economic uncertainty is deepening. Soaring national debt, volatile markets, and ongoing inflation have left many Americans struggling. As the 2025 election approaches, fears of political unrest loom large. Could this be what Baba Vanga predicted? A world on the brink of collapse, reorganization, and rebirth. The link between natural disasters and political instability throughout. Major natural disasters have often preceded massive political and social changes. The destruction they cause exposes economic weaknesses, deepens political divides, and accelerates social unrest. Recent earthquakes in California and Seattle, combined with warnings of the big one, are causing alarm. Scientists fear a catastrophic seismic event could devastate entire regions, triggering mass migrations, economic devastation, and widespread panic. If the Cascadia fault line erupts, experts predict that millions could be displaced, food supplies disrupted, and financial markets thrown into chaos. Could these earthquakes be part of a larger pattern, one that signals the unraveling of global stability, a prophetic warning, or mere coincidence? Skeptics may dismiss Baba Vanga's predictions as mere chance. But when natural disasters, wars, and economic turmoil converge, they create the perfect storm for world-changing events. Some believe that every crisis, whether political, economic, or environmental, is leading us toward a critical moment in history. But what if these events aren't just random occurrences? What if they are part of a larger divine narrative, one foretold long ago? The Bible warns of a time when society will be shaken, and the world as we know it will change. Will we be ready, or will we be caught off guard? One thing is certain, the world is shifting. The question is, are we prepared for what comes next? Throughout history, earthquakes have been seen as more than just natural disasters. They have often been interpreted as divine warnings or signals of monumental change. The Bible speaks of earthquakes as part of end-times prophecy, most notably in the book of Revelation. Then there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a severe earthquake. No earthquake like it has ever occurred since mankind has been on earth. So tremendous was the quake. Revelation 16:18-19. While we are not predicting the end times, the rising frequency of major earthquakes, wars, and global instability cannot be ignored. Are earthquakes increasing? What scientists are saying, recent seismic activity has raised concerns across the US. Scientists have noted an uptick in earthquake activity in several key regions. California. The San Andreas Fault remains one of the most dangerous fault lines in the world, and experts warn that a devastating quake is overdue. Texas. Oil and gas drilling have led to an increase in man-made earthquakes, some measuring over 4.0 in magnitude. The Pacific Northwest, the Cascadia subduction zone, a massive fault stretching from California to Canada, has been identified as a ticking time bomb for the big one. The Los Angeles earthquake that shook the city right after the Oscars was just one of many tremors that have rattled the region recently. In Seattle, concerns about the Cascadia fault triggering a massive quake and tsunami are growing. If such an event occurs, scientists predict it could lead to thousands of deaths, mass evacuations, and widespread devastation. These warnings align eerily with Baba Vanga's 2025 predictions. Natural disasters, societal upheaval, and a world on the brink of transformation. A biblical connection, the role of earthquakes. In prophecy for centuries, earthquakes have been linked to moments of divine intervention. In Exodus 19:18, as God descended upon Mount Sinai, the earth itself shook violently. In Matthew 27-51, at the moment of Jesus' crucifixion, the ground trembled, the veil of the temple was torn, and graves opened, signifying the power of God at work. In Acts 16:26, as Paul and Silas prayed in prison, a great earthquake freed them, a moment symbolizing divine deliverance. Could today's increasing earthquakes be more than random geological events? Could they be spiritual wake-up calls, a warning that something bigger is coming? What this Means for the future. The combination of rising earthquakes, economic instability, and global conflict suggests that the world is experiencing a dramatic shift. Could we be entering a time of judgment? A time of warning? Some believe these events are leading toward a reckoning, where humanity must decide its course. Others argue that these are merely natural cycles, but history shows that civilizations have often crumbled in the wake of great disasters. The question is, are we prepared for what comes next? What can we learn from these signs? As we look at the growing earthquake activity, economic instability, and global conflicts, one thing becomes clear. We are living in a time of great uncertainty. But fear is not the answer. The Bible teaches us that in moments like these, we must stay vigilant, seek wisdom, and strengthen our faith. Spiritual preparedness. The book of Proverbs reminds us, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Proverbs 22:3. This verse isn't just about physical preparedness, it speaks to spiritual preparedness as well. The shaking of the earth is often a wake-up call, not just in a geological sense, but in a spiritual sense. Are we ready? Are our hearts prepared for whatever may come? Just as people prepare emergency kits for disasters, we must also equip our souls with prayer, faith, and a deep understanding of God's Word. Community and compassion history shows that in times of crisis, people come together. They help their neighbors, support their communities, and find strength in unity. Galatians 6:2 encourages us, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. After earthquakes, we've seen churches open their doors, volunteers rush to help, and communities unite in prayer and action. Instead of allowing fear to divide us, we can choose to come together, to be a source of strength for others, and to reflect Christ's love in our actions, awareness and readiness. The physical world reminds us of the spiritual world. Just as we prepare our homes for disasters, we must also prepare our hearts. Ask yourself, are we grounded in faith, or are we easily shaken? Are we living with purpose, or are we distracted by the chaos around us? Are we using these warnings as a call to turn to God, or are we ignoring them? The Bible tells us that challenges, whether they are earthquakes, economic crises, or political unrest, can serve as reminders to turn back to God, seek His wisdom, and strengthen our faith. While we cannot predict what will happen next, we can decide how we respond. Will we be paralyzed by fear, or will we seek wisdom? Will we turn inward in selfishness, or will we extend compassion to others? Will we ignore the signs, or will we take this moment to grow spiritually? The Bible promises us that no matter what happens in the world, God remains in control. Let's seek truth together. Let's stay prepared, prayerful, and strong in faith. Unshakable faith in a shaking world. In times of uncertainty, when the ground beneath us trembles, whether from earthquakes, economic crises, or political upheaval, we are reminded of one simple truth: nothing on this earth is permanent. But our faith, that remains unshaken. The book of Psalms offers us this powerful promise: God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. Psalm 46, 1-2. No matter how chaotic the world becomes, we do not stand alone. We have a firm foundation, a refuge in God, and a hope that transcends the trials of this life. A call to stand firm as the world faces increasing natural disasters, global tensions, and economic instability. We have a choice. Will we be paralyzed by fear, or will we stand firm in faith? Will we allow uncertainty to shake us, or will we turn to God for strength? Jesus warned that wars, earthquakes, and famines would mark the beginning of birth pains, not the end, but the signs of a shifting world. Matthew 24, 7-8. Perhaps these moments are not meant to terrify us, but to wake us up, to remind us of what truly matters. Join us in prayer. Let's take this moment to pause and reflect, to pray for peace in our world, to pray for wisdom in uncertain times, to pray for strength to face whatever lies ahead, and above all, stay strong in faith, stay prepared, and stay connected to God's Word. Let's walk this journey together. What do you think? Are these earthquakes signs of something greater? Are we witnessing natural disasters or spiritual warnings? Comment below with your thoughts. We want to hear from you. Let's come together in discussion, prayer, and preparation. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe to Bible Pathways for more deep biblical insights into the world we live in today. Stay safe, stay informed, and most importantly, stay rooted in faith. The call to readiness is urgent. Economic instability and natural disasters are only the beginning. As Jesus said, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come." Matthew 24:42. We must use this time wisely to seek holiness, to pray fervently, and to spread the gospel while there is still time. Just as citizens mobilize in times of crisis, believers must mobilize for God's kingdom. Are you ready? Let's stand together in faith and in action.